Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today we're gonna look at how we can build this Viking starter house from my 100-day village build series. And with Mistlands update around the corner, which I'm super excited for, this is a perfect build to start off with in a new world. So let's jump right in. So the material that you're gonna need to do this build is, I would recommend that you get 2 carts full of wood, 1 stack of core wood, and 10 stack of fine wood. So this is all that you need to get the build done. To build this starter house, we're gonna start off by making a 10 by 5 box. Now this is gonna be our frontier, where we're gonna put the 10 of these 2-meter beams going across. So it's 2, 3, take that out, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So this is gonna be our frontier, and then we have 5 at the side. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then we just finish up by connecting the other side right here. So once you have the box done, it should basically look like this. And we're just going to grab our 45-degree wall and attach it to the end here, and we're just going to go about 3, go up 3 into 3. This is the third. We just fix that one, and we're going to switch to our upside down 45-degree wall, and we're just going to attach it underneath right here. Next, we're going to switch over to our core wood, because we're going to give it some support. So just making sure that we have proper support with our roof here. We're just going to make sure that's just to take these out. We don't really need them, so that is fine. Let's see, if we just want to make sure that this is touching the ground. If it is not touching the ground, just manually place it like this by holding down the shift key and place it in. It just needed to touch the wood so it can give it adequate support. So once the core wood is added, then we just go up 2 more with the 45-degree wall, about this. That should be enough. Then we add our 45-degree upside down wall underneath, and this should be our peak of the roof. So we're gonna do this on the other side so that it all meets. So we're gonna do the same thing on this back section here to get our roof structure up. So the next thing that we're going to focus on is the front of the build, where we're going to shape out the roof structure and the entrance for our build. So we're going to add a 2-meter beam going across right here, and we're going to switch on over to our 45-degree beam, and we're just going to set it at an angle. So this should be like a perfect 90-degree. So we're going to 1 tick rotation towards you, so it should be like this. And you just basically bring this all the way up. So you basically do the other side until they meet the center. So just do this 1 tick rotation, and then we just snap this all the way up. Okay, so you should have something look like this. More than likely you're unable to build anymore because it's currently showing red. So we're just going to give it some support. There's temporary support right here, and we're just going to add a column about here. So want to make sure that the flat part of the wood is facing you like this, and we just connect another. You may have a little space here at the bottom. I advise you to just go around to the back, get a 1-meter pole, and just kind of slide it in about that, and you should be good. And we just do the same thing on the other side. So 2-meter at a pole right here, go around the back, get a 1-meter pole, kind of hold down on shift key. So best to hold down on shift key so that you can place that 1-meter pole there to support it. So let's put this 2-meter pole back, and 1 meter, just hold down shift key, slide it in just a bit. Let's make sure it's lined up properly with it. Then you can just add the last piece of 26-degree beam going across like this, and you're good. So you can take these out because you no longer need these. We'll add something in this area later on. Okay, so the next thing that we're going to focus on is, for these columns, we're going to give it a bit more detail, and I'm going to do my usual custom columns. So I'm just going to demonstrate this. So we're just going to close up right here, and we're going to grab our 1-meter pole, and we're just going to rotate it 2 times, 1, 2, and hold down on shift key, slide it in, make sure that the crease are close as possible, and you have something looking like that. Let's do the other side. We'll just slowly slide it in. There we go, and we have that. And then we switch on over to our 2-meter pole, and then do the sides right here. Hold down on shift key. Let me just do that properly. So hold down on shift key, slide that in, and we just do the other side. hold down on shift key again and place that in manually. And then what we can do is just to snap these in pretty easy. Just rotate this, snap that in, tap it, and you switch over to the 1 meter. Just kind of fill in that top section here, and you should have a column looking like this. Pretty nice. And you can just repeat the same step for this side here. So the next part that we're going to focus on is this little section here for both sides. So we're going to start off by taking out this 26-degree beam, and we're going to get a beam going across right here. Make sure that it's in line with this this beam, 26-degree beam here. And what we're going to do is that we're going to get our 1 meter floor. We're just going to manually place it, but holding down on shift key. Make sure that it's in line with this beam here at the front. So we're just going to place it like that. It should be in line with it. And we'll just take this out and we'll just put these two in, and we're just going to carry this all the way to the column right here. So you should have something looking like this. Now this is going to be very important later on. So we can put in back the 26-degree beam, and then we can do the other side. Okay, so what we're going to do now is that we're going to add our windows for the front section right here, and we're going to grab our 26-degree wall and just focus on the snapping point right here. So you should have one that's kind of overlapping the column, and then you have the second one. So this snapping point right here, and we're going to start off on this side first, place that piece in, then we go over to the other side. We kind of rotate it one time so it's in line with this 1 meter floor, and we just rotate it one time, then we snap that in. It should have something looking like this. Then we switch on over to our 45-degree beam. So we're going to start off with this first, and what you're going to focus on is that you're not going to focus on, because we wanted to snap in the top right here, but we don't want it to snap in line with this bottom piece. And there's a reason why, because if we snap it in, we have this kind of protruding out, which is not what we really want. So we're gonna just take that out. There's a snapping point right here that we want to use, so we're just gonna aim right here, and you see that it snaps right in automatically. Switch to our 45-degree upside down wall, and we just going to make sure it's in line. Now if I place it right here, it will automatically snap into that slot that we just pointed on earlier. So you should have something looking like this. The next thing, we just switch back over to the 26-degree wall. This time we're just gonna make it straight, so it just gonna flow with the line of the 1 meter floor down here. So you should have something like this. Now it looks plain and boring, so we're just gonna add a bit more detail just to make this window pop. So we're gonna give it some depth, and we're just gonna get our 26-degree regular beam, and we're gonna manually place this in. So hold down on shift key, and you're just gonna look at it and just see where the front of it is, and you're just gonna slightly slide it forward, just a little bit upward, and just want to give it some depth with this one piece right here. We'll just do the same, hold down on shift key, we can see where the front line is. We'll just slide it up. We're just gonna go in line with the other side, make sure that, okay, it's centered. You may have to do this a couple of times if you first time you're messing around placing pieces manually. So you have something like this, so it makes the window pop even more. So we're gonna do the top part here, and we switch over to our 45-degree, and we just manually place it in. So we'll just see the line, we'll just slide it down a little bit. We can look at the top part right here just to help us, and make sure that the edge right here is kind of lined up with each other. You just place that in like that, and go over to the other side, and we just kind of look at the middle point there, right here, and you see everything that kind of lines up. And it should have something looking like this at the back here, and the front you should see it look a lot better. And we're going to repeat this on the other side now. Now that we have the windows in place, now we can add our doorway. So we're going to do this by getting our 2 meter pole, and we're going to manually place it to the side right here. So I'm just going to line it up with this pole that is currently here, and just aim at the ground, hold down on shift key just to make sure that it doesn't auto snap. And I'm going to put it about right here, and I'm going to put one more right there. The next thing I'm going to do is that I'm going to try to line this pole up with the other side. So I'm just going to get a 2 meter beam placed right here, another 1 meter beam placed right here, and I'm going to manually place the other one, basically eyeballing it. So I'm just gonna hold down on shift key and just kind of line it up, eyeball it there. That seems to be straight enough. It may not be perfect, but at least close enough. So that should be close enough. I will just add another right there, take these out, and we should be good to go. And next we're gonna switch over to our wooden gates. We're gonna use as our doors. Hold down on shift key, and we're just gonna manually place it in like just a little bit in like that. It's gonna overlap because it's not like a perfect 2 meter, well, total 4 meter in between here. So I'm just gonna manually place this in. I'm just gonna make the door edge there kind of overlap just to make it look seamless. So just drop that in like that, and we have our doorway all set. So the next thing that we're going to do now, on top of these 2 poles that we placed for our doorway, we're going to place a 26-degree on top, and make sure that it's in line with the roof up above right here. We'll just do the same thing over here. So make sure to place it on top of the pole, and not to make it snap automatically like what you're seeing right here. As you can see, it's not on top of the wood, so place it right in so it kind of snaps into it like that. You should have something looking like this, a little space there. So we're gonna add a few details just to make this clean this up a bit. So first thing, we're gonna grab our 2 meter beam going across. There should be a snapping point right here because of the door, so we're just gonna place it right here going across just like that. And then we're going to switch on over to our 1 meter beam, and we're going to manually place this in. So you're going to hold down on shift key, because what we're aiming for is to kind of close this little gap here, as you can see. So we're going to aim right up here just a little bit, just about that. But you may find that it may be pushed over to the left, or depending. Yeah, so you kind of bring it down because we're trying to make it centered as best as possible. I think that is perfect, and we just can snap this in, rotate it, and we just get a snapping point right here. If it's not snapping in properly, well, if you're unable to get it to snap in properly, you can always go on the back and get that snapped in. And we just do this on the other side, and you should have something looking like this. And you see how it fills out that little gap, and we have like a nice little column there. And we can just repeat the same thing on the other side. So we're just gonna hold down on shift key, and we're just gonna try to center it as best as possible, so go all the way up high enough just to make sure that we can fill in that gap. And then we're just gonna slide 1 meter beam to the back here. We can just open this door. We can just go right behind here and just kind of place that in. If you're having trouble getting that final piece in, just get it angle. So let's see if we can get this properly. So there we go, got it in. And we can just do this side here, and this is supposed to be easy. And there you have it, that's all snapped in good. And then for the front here, what I did, it is up to you, but usually I would use like a stool where you can just put these in for a nice little lattice design. But you'd have to get a good amount of fine wood, maybe about maybe 2 stack. It just be good enough. That would be good enough. But if we're doing it on a basis where we don't have any, we can just switch on over to a regular fence, and we're just gonna slide this in. It's in right here, right in the corner, and we're just gonna slide this in. So let's see about that, and we're just gonna do the same thing over here, just all the way in, and we just have it looking like this. And then we're going to get our 2 meter beam right here, and we're just going to try to center it. We're using the door here, this little center part right here, as a guide so that we can center it. And we're just going to push it up a little bit. We're just going to give it a little bit of depth. We just drop that piece right in, and we're just going to go to the side, rotate it 1 time in like that, and then we just do the same thing on the other side like that. And then you have the front looking like this. So then at the base right here, we're just going to add more detail just to make the column feel more complete. So hold down on shift key. Let me just do that again. So hold down on shift key, slide it in just a little bit like that, and then we just connect it to the side, aim at the ground. It should auto snap like this, and then to the side right here should auto snap like that, and you are good to go. So the next little detail that we're going to add for the roof line here, so we're just going to grab our 26 degree, and we're just going to manually place this in. I just want you to focus on the edge of the wood right there, right at the top in the center there, and just kind of slide it a little bit in like that. And it should be upward a bit like this, just to give it some depth. We'll just do the same thing on the other side. We'll just switch this over. So just try to make sure that it's centered like that, If it snaps in and it looks like everything is balanced, then go right ahead and just snap it right in just like that. It should have something look like this, and we just snap all the pieces going down all the way down to the ground. So once everything done, your build should look like this with everything done properly. So the next thing we're going to move on is the roof. Okay, so now that our front is all set, so we're going to add our roof pieces, and we're just going to get our attached roof. We're 26°, and we're just going to work with the line what we have right here. We'll just place that in, and we're just going to snap this. Should auto snap like that. Pretty easy. We just snap all the way up, and just finished up by putting the last piece where it just meets into the center like that. Now the other thing that we just need to work out is the sides right here. And what we're gonna do is that we're just gonna follow the line of the beams. So we're just gonna rotate it to make sure that it's in line with the beam like that. We just fill this side right here, and we just follow the line, go all the way up like this. For these 6 parts right here, we're just gonna follow the line of this roof piece, and we're just gonna fill these out. Okay, so once you have everything done, it should look like this. So you will have like a little gap in this portion of the roof. There's a little trick that you can do to kind of fill this out. So you're gonna place like a 1 meter beam right here. It doesn't have to be perfect in the center. We just want to get like just a little section where you can aim this 26° hatch roof bridge. So hold down on shift key, and I just can manually place it in, just draw it all the way down like that. Okay, so now for the back section right here, we're gonna take out these upside down walls, and we're just gonna replace it with these full walls right here. And we're just gonna do from right about here's fine, because what we're gonna do is that we're gonna have some flooring later on, so this shouldn't be a problem. We'll just take this out, and we'll just replace it with a full wall, and we'll just repeat that on the other side. So full wall right here, another full wall right here, take this out, and full wall right here. Just make sure that it's snaps in properly, because sometimes it has another snapping point that it make use of. And for right here, for a little bit of detail, we're just going to switch over to a 26°, and just follow the line of this roof piece here, and we'll just go across, because we're going to add a little bit of detail to the front of this little section. And basically we have this little area set out. Now for the chimney, or where we're going to put our fireplace, it's going to be the center right here. So what I've done is that I mark this the middle piece of beam right here. So it's 1, 2, and then this middle piece, and start from right here. It could be either side, but just make sure that it is centered, because this is going to be the middle. So this would be the middle. And I add 1, 2, 3, 4 of these 2 meter beam, and then I added a 1 meter beam. Then I created a box from that point to find the center for where the chimney is going to be, which is going to be right here. So over on the left side of the structure right here, we're going to have a bit of roof pieces here. So we're going to do like 2 rows of these roof pieces. So 1, 2, and we're just going to bring this all the way across, because what we're going to do is that we're going to add our second floor, and we need to have that done so that we can proceed to the next portion of getting our roof structure for this side up. For our chimney here, we're going to take these out, because we no longer need these here. And we're just going to grab our core wood, because we needed to add a little bit of support. Now this is very important that you do this, holding down on shift key and place it manually. Reason being is that when you place the core wood on top of these regular wood, it's not touching the ground properly, so it won't get that adequate support or stable support from the ground. From this point here, you can just get a 2 meter beam attached at the top, so that you can line it up properly with the other beam like this. And we can just take that one out, and we just follow the same thing going around. So we just add a 2 meter beam, and we just attach our core wood underneath, take that out, and then with 2 meter beam again. Great, so you have that in place, because what's going to happen is that these core wood is going to go up and support our little chimney to protect our fire. So we're going to work out how we're going to get up to our first floor, and we're going to place our staircase right here. So it's going to be about we can put about right here, and we're just going to put 2 of them, and we're going to have like a regular 2x2 floor right here, and then we're going to add our ladder right here. It's gonna go around, and this should be our first floor, and it should be in line with the roof piece that we have placed over here, which we can basically bring over to this side. We can start from this floor here just to make sure that everything is properly done. Just bring this all the way over, kind of get an idea as to how everything is going to be. We just want to make sure that it's not pushing out on the other side, so we can maybe switch over to like a 1 meter and see if that's enough. Yes, it is. And we just kind of fill that area here. It should be touching, but we work that out afterwards. And then we're going to add a couple more core wood right here, so we're just going to place these on top of the ones that we have just placed. And then underneath here, you're going to add your 2 meter core wood. So just aim at the roof piece so that you can just snap onto this. It's not going to snap in perfectly, that's fine. We just want it to support the roof in the center right here. We'll just do that all around each side. So the next part we're going to work out is this little section here for the roof that would protrude forward here. And we're going to snap it in. We're going to start from this snapping point here, so it's basically 1 and then 2. We're going to switch over to our 45 degree. So what we're going to do is that we're going to rotate this forward to your character, so 1 rotation, and you should have it looking like this, and we're just going to carry it all the way up until it meets to the top, very top here. So about right here we should have that snapping point. There we go. And we just start with the same thing over on the other side, so it's 1 rotation, 1, 2, and then 1 more, and you should have it looking like this. Now for the roof piece in the corners right here, so we're gonna switch over to a attached roof eye corner 45 degree, and we're gonna snap it. We're gonna use this side here, not this one, so that you don't get confused. So we're gonna use this side here, and we're just gonna make sure that this edge is lined up with it properly, so it should have something looking like this. Let's make sure that it's lined up properly. Let's fix that. Let's rotate it 1 more time just to make sure that it is in properly. And if we look at it, then you'll notice it's set in properly like that. So the next piece that should follow right here should work, but we need adequate support for that to go there. So we're going to switch over to our regular 45 roof piece, and we just snap these in right here. That's 1. We can take these out because we just use it just to aid with making the chimney right here. And we just do the other side, and we just bring this across from right here, and then we have our little eye corner right here. Should have something looking like this, and then you basically get a 45 degree to connect right here. And for the corner right here, we just rotate the roof piece to in line with the roof edge with these roof beams, and have it snapped in like this. And we're going to do the other side so that we can do the middle properly. So we switch back to our eye corner roof piece. We're just using this side here, don't use this, the front side. And we just kind of line this up properly right in the corner right there. It will snap in automatically like that. Switch over to regular 45 degree, bring this all the way up. We can take these out. Now for the middle section here, now for this part we would switch over to our 45 degree roof ridge, and we should be able to fit these in nicely like that. We can just bring this all the way into the roof beam that we have right here, and we just clean it up by adding the remaining 45 degree roof piece to the sides right here, and that should be done for the roof. So the next section that we're going to work on is a little balcony right here. So we're going to grab our 2 meter beam, and we're just going to rotate it 2 times. So it's 1 and then 2. That's too much. 2 should be at this angle, and you're going to snap it right in the corner of the beam here. 1, and then you're going to rotate this 1 time inward like that. Then we just focus on the other side. We'll just go 1, 2. So this should be 2. And then we just rotate 1 time inwards, so 1 time like that, and then we just rotate again going across, and another going across, and this is basically the shape of our balcony. And we just can fill that in with some wooden floor. So we're just gonna start from the middle here, make it a lot easier. And we just kind of come across the section here. We'll just see if we can fill this portion in properly, just like that. We can just do the other side, fill that in, just like that. We'll just do the same for these little corners right here. So for the flooring section, we want to bring this, just go across like this. Just kind of fill this out. We just can put like a little wall right here, and we can just put an upside down wall right here. We just fill this area with 1 meter wood going across. So we're gonna clean this up a bit so that the balcony flows with the floor level that we have right here. So we're just going to use the same 1 meter wood, and we're just going to place one manually right here. Let's go across like this, and then we'll just put another right here, and we're just gonna push it right into it so it merge with the other floor, the balcony floor, and then we just go across like this. What you can do is by adding a little bit of detail by just wrapping around this step, and just manually place it just like this, line it up properly, and then we just bring this in and we just wrap it around like that as well. You can just do the other side, just rotate it just a little bit, and just manually place this in just a bit like that, and do the same for the top. Just carry it in just a little bit like that, and we just carry the floor all the way across like this. Okay, so for the edges right here, we're just gonna rotate one more time, and it will auto snap in. We just work with the snapping point that we have right here, and then we're just going to rotate it inwards like that, and finish it up by rotating it again, so you have this nice little curve like that. You just create a nice little design for this top section here. So you will see that it will have a snapping point, so it will automatically snap in. You can draw it even closer, or you can snap it from this point. So I'm going to use that point and then rotate it inwards, and then we're just going to have that wrapped around just like that. And as you can see, I did it on the other side. And the next thing that we're going to focus on right here is the local balcony. We're just going to use the half wall and just kind of fill this section here. If you feel a bit fancy, what you can do, you can use stools, and I'm going to show you how the stools look for this section. The only downside is that when the rain falls, the stools are going to get withered, so bear in mind. For you guys that are feeling a bit fancy and want to use stools, so I will start from the edge right here and just go across. Just make sure that it's lined up properly. You're going to exercise patience when you're placing these stools, so just make sure that it's lined up properly. Just go across, line up properly, just go across. So for the corners, we aim as close as possible, and we just snap that in, and we just carry this all around. And I finished out by adding 1 meter floor on top of the stools. Just kind of hug around it, just kind of flow with the line of it, and you have something looking like this. I think I like the stools better because it's, I mean, yeah, it's more fancy. And now we're just gonna focus on this little section here. We're just gonna add a little bit more detail. We'll just switch on over to our 45-degree, and we're just going to aim just a little bit back, so we're just gonna have a little bit of the depth there right in this section, and we're just going to have it overlap like that. Well, if it snaps in like that, then that's good. Just bring the sides all the way down like this, so stopping about there, that should be good. I'm gonna just do the other side. So we're gonna move back to the front of this side of the bill, and we're just gonna add more detail just to make sure that this pop even further. So we're gonna grab our 2 meter pole, and we should have a snapping point right here just like this, but we're gonna rotate this so that we have the edge of the wood facing us. I'm gonna snap that in, switch on over to a 1 meter wooden pole, and we're gonna snap that in. Now for the top section right here, so you can see how it looks a bit flat, so we're gonna add a little bit depth, and we switch over to a 45-degree. We're gonna manually place this in, so it's about right here, the edge. I normally like to make it lined up with the other side, with this line here up top with the other beam, or you can maybe slightly bring it down a little bit, but make sure it push out to the maximum it can go, and just snap that in. And we're just gonna do the same over here, and we just want to make sure that everything is lined up properly. I think that is it. So it should have something looking like this, and then we would add or another wooden pole making sure that the edge is pointing directly towards us, and then kind of hold down on shift key and manually place this in. Let's make sure that it's like into the center and have something looking like that. Then we just switch back over to a 45 degree because we want to add a little bit of detail right here, and we can just add this snapping point here, and we just do the other side. Bring these beams all the way down. And one more thing that we're just gonna add is that we're gonna put another wooden 2-meter pole right here, snap into that section, and right here, so you have like a little nice little window. So we're back inside now just to finish up the first floor. So we're just gonna bring this all the way here, and we're basically gonna stop about here, so it's kind of in line with this core wood column that we have right now. And we're just gonna bring this across, just start bring from right here, so that the support from the core wood can support the remaining floor. Should have something look like this, where you just come way out to the edge here, and you're just going to leave it as is for now. We're just gonna put one more right here. There's something that we're gonna do with this back section, but we're gonna work on that after we've completed this part. So the next thing that we're gonna look at is the chimney area, and we're just gonna get our upside down wall, 45 degree wall, and we're just gonna snap it, and it's gonna be in line with the roof piece. And because the core wood is there, so it's basically gonna provide it support, so that is what we need. We're just gonna do it on both sides. And next, once you have these in, then you switch on over to 45 degree roof ridge, and we just attach these two up top. So we're gonna focus on this side here, where we're gonna put our round structure, our round looking structure, and we're gonna use this as a guide. So this is the highest point of that round structure, and we're just going to rotate it one time, snap this in, take these out, then one more time, snap this in, and then one more rotation, and we have something looking like this. We start again, we just take these out, so it's one rotation, another, and finally that piece. We can take that out. So next we're going to add a core wood in between these creases, so just put one here, one here, one here, and the final piece right there. We just connect it to the top using 2-meter beam. Okay, so now that we have all the beams attached, we're going to switch on over to a half wall, and we're just going to rotate it, showing the back part of it. So should have something looking like this. We'll just do this on top of all the beams right here. Now I like to add a little bit of detail, so we're going to switch on over to our beam, and because it looks a bit flat out here, you could use the beam right here, just kind of wrap around. Okay, so the next bit of detail we're going to add is just we're going to add beams on top of these half walls, going around like this. Okay, so we're going to add the stools. So what you're going to do is that you're going to hold down on shift key, and you're just going to push it back a bit, so, and it's almost, make it like almost halfway, it's maybe 30% into the column, and let's place that piece in. Just try to put the other piece like that beside it, and you may have to kind of overlap a little bit sometimes, just to make sure that this little side here is kind of balanced out, and you have something looking like this. And it's basically easy going up, so you just basically follow the line of the stool below. So start from here, you just try to line the foot with the top part of the stool here, and we just do the same thing over here, and do this right here, and then we finish off. And just make sure that the front of the stools are lined up properly, so that it looks clean and not like, yeah, a hot mess. So yeah, so we're just gonna do all of this off screen and get all these little sections filled out. So the next thing that we're gonna do is add railings around the edge here. So we're just gonna get our half wall, and we're just gonna attach it right here, kind of show the back, prefer the back part of it or the outside, just because that little wood strip for detail. Then we're gonna switch on over to our 26 degree X, and the reason why I'm using this is because the X doesn't receive any rain damage, and we're gonna just kind of overlap the half wall right here. What this is gonna do is that it's gonna protect basically what is underneath the X from rain damage. Okay, great. So basically it should be looking like this. The next thing we're gonna do is just gonna get our wooden beam. Now this one will not be protected by the rain because it's gonna be pretty much in front of the the X, but we're just going to make it a little bit prettier. So right to the front here, we're going to start at this point, and we're just gonna maybe put it right above this little wood strip right there. We're just gonna keep that detail in, and we're just gonna snap these piece around it like that. So if it's slow, it'll slightly go into the wood, which is not a problem. We'll work with that, and we'll just do the other side. Great. So once you have that done, then we switch on over to our 1 meter beam, and we're just going to add a little bit of detail where the pole is kind of basically pushing out like this. Just rotate it. So this is what you should be seeing right now once you're done. And yeah, I must say I like it. And for these little opening gaps here, you guys can get just a regular wall. Preferably let's use the cleaner side just to make it look better when you're viewing it on the other side, on the outside. So that is it. Okay, so now that the side structure is complete, we can switch on over to our wooden floor. We're just gonna fill out this area here. We're just gonna work with the flow, this circle structure. All right, we best that we start from here, and just kind of bring this all the way to center here. So we can get one more piece in. Get 1 meter wood, and we're just gonna try to get that last piece in this corner. Okay, so just add that 1 meter floor there, and we just gonna bring this across and this across. Now that the patio is all done, we just switch on over to a 26-degree roof piece, and we're just going to start from here, and we just connect these about two should be decent enough for we able to pass properly. Just bring this across and just fill it all in just like that. And then I will get a 26-degree beam because I don't like how the sides of it looks, so just kind of give it a nice little edge there. Let's do the other side. Done. So we're just gonna put our walls right here. So I'm gonna do like a wall about here. Actually I think yeah, I'm gonna work with this side, facing that side. Yeah, so we want to have this, well, it's up to you if you like this design or this shown on the other side. So we're gonna have the walls started like about here. It's a snapping point where this beam right now connects. So let me just kind of get close enough so that you can see clearly. So where the beam connects at this point, and we just kind of connect it going across like this. Make sure that this is lined up properly. We'll just take out the middle right here, which is going to be our doorway. We could make it a little bit wider, but let's, yeah, we just keep it at that. And we just put in a half wall at the top just to make it just fill out this section. And yeah, we put a half wall right here. Can we pass through? Fine. Yes, we can. So this is our little patio section. We're going to work on the back section here, and we're going to take out these little upside down beams walls, and we're going to swap them out by using the regular walls. I'm just going to fill this in. Let me just make sure that it's snapped in properly like that, and we'll just do right here, just fill this out. And let's do the same thing on the side. So take these upside down walls, and we just fill that in. Fine with that one, and right there. And then we're going to switch over to our beam, and we just have one beam pushing out like that. Attach our 26-degree wall. We'll just attach to the edge here. We're just going all the way up. So we're going to do the same thing on the other side so that they meet in the center. Okay, so basically you should have something like this. Now I've added some walls starting from here just to give me some extra support so I can meet right in the middle. So you can be aware of that. And then just add these half walls right over the top, because what we can do is that we can I didn't do this in the 100-day video, but because you may possibly put it out in the open, so you have like a space around the back where you could possibly make a garden, or you know, something like of that sort. So you could have like a doorway here to exit out of the back. So we can just add like a half wall. Let's see, we just try like a full wall right here. We can maybe just focus on one side with a slide in. We'll just take this out and just put a full wall up top right here, and just put a beam right here just to make sure that it looks like it's touching the ground. And then we can get a door, one of those gates, and then we are pretty much good from there. Now we just need to focus on this top section here, and we're just going to use the thatched roof, 26-degree thatched roof piece. We just fill these area out, just do the same thing on the other side. We're gonna need to focus on this top section here, how we can make it look sensible. What I did in the 100J was a balcony, having a balcony here. So before we even proceed, let me just have like a floor that's going across like this. Just finish this section up. For right here, we just get a 1 meter wood, so that we kind of gotta give us a little bit of a space allowance here where we can move freely. We should be good when we're coming up, so it shouldn't be a big problem. So we have adequate space where we're able to move. So a 26-degree stair is on the side and one on the other side. It may not be lined up properly, so let's center it, make it look better, so we can flow with the current roof piece. So it's kind of follow that line there. Next, we just had the 26-degree wall just to clean up the side of the staircase here, and switch on over to our 45-degree wall. So what we're gonna do is that we fill in this area here. So make sure that it's filled out properly like that, and we just switch on over to like a half wall. We can bring this a little bit closer. We could use a 45-degree wall out here. Let's see if we can get it snapped in right on top of that half wall there, nice and clean. And we just do the same thing on the other side. Let's put the 45-degree wall right here, a half wall right beside it. Just rotate it's make sure that it's inside. Let me check on the other side here. It's not showing, so it doesn't really matter. And we switch back over to a 45-degree wall, and we just kind of aim right at the back so it can automatically snap in place there. And there we have our little opening to access our balcony. So to kind of work on the balcony, we're just gonna try to put a beam right here to just follow a line just to get it done. We could do it from the sides here, but may have a little problem trying to line it up with the top section here. So we're just gonna bring it out just like this, and we're just gonna use the beam to kind of wrap around. Preferably we could just start with a 1 meter beam, one on this side, one on this side. Then we can use the 2 meter, just wrap it around like this. One, just give it another, and then we get 2 more to kind of finish it off going into the wall. And we just do the same thing on the other side. So we just one rotation, 1 2, 1 rotation, and 1 2. Now we just need to add some railings. So we're just going to do the same design we did with the other patio, and we just use the half wall and just kind of wrap it around. So we're just going to start from the front here and just carry it all around. Okay, so you have the nice little detail at the back, and just to make sure that the roof doesn't look so flat, so we're just going to add a bit of depth. Grab a 45-degree beam, we'll just attach it top here. We'll just manually place it in using the shift key, and just bring it all the way down.
That is it for the starter house. Hope you had fun recreating this build. Thank you to my wonderful patrons and YouTube members for keeping the channel going, and thank you for watching. And don't forget to always aspire to inspire. Peace.